Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Doctor Who Reviews. This week was my choice. My previous two choices have been less than great, but this time I chose the Three Doctors, the 10th anniversary special in 1973, starring Jon Pertwee and Patrick Troughton and William Hartnell. Was it a good one? Well, to find out, let me introduce my two usual co-hosts. Firstly, to my virtual left, he is both a dandy and a clown. It's Freezing Inferno.
Hi, everybody.
And to my virtual right, she thought the unit dating scandal was about Sergeant Benson hooking up with Liz Shaw. It's Kat.
God almighty.
I'm not sure that was worth it, but okay.
Thanks.
You tried.
The attempt was made.
There was an attempt. And there was an attempt for me to undo the damage I've done in my past two picks as well, with the Three Doctors. First question, did I manage it?
Well, we can't say that just yet.
I think you did.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah. This was fine. This is good.
Yeah.
So this is, as you said, the 10th anniversary story for Doctor Who. So they decided, hey, 10 years of Doctor Who. Why don't we get all the old Doctor Who's back in one big grand adventure? Which they mostly did. Patrick Troughton came back fine, but there was a slight issue with poor William Hartnell, because in the intervening years between his departure and 1973, he got really old and really sick.
Yeah. It was why he left Doctor Who in the first place, actually.
Yeah. He had something to do with his heart. So, well, the whole thing is they have a really sad story on the extras where they were planning on this big adventure with all three of them. And William Hartnell was like, yes, I'll do it. I'd love to. And then his wife phones the production office and she's like, did you tell Bill that he's going to be in the new Doctor Who? Because he's clearly not well enough to do that.
Yeah.
So they came up with a compromise. And even on screen you can see he's not as energetic.
The compromise doesn't quite work, but they did the best of what they could, I guess, in the circumstances.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to his appearance, but he's not nearly as energetic as he was in his era. This is actually his last television appearance ever. 2 years later, he died.
Yeah.
So
it's a real bummer.
It's why he's not present in the Five Doctors, and why he's represented by a CGI head in Dimensions in Time.
Yeah. Those are compared to those choices, putting the guy on like a chair and having him say his lines into a camera isn't so bad.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still seems a little bit much to call it the Three Doctors. I honestly would have just let the poor man not be there.
Well, technically speaking, there were actually 4 Doctors in this story. Because we open with Dr. Tyler.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
He's talking to Ollis, who's a sort of groundskeeper.
And he's found like a weather balloon
sanctuary.
He has some of the funkiest hair I've ever seen in 72, Ollis.
Oh, okay. I mean, this is a character...
I actually... No, go ahead.
I'm just going to say that this sort of character appears a lot in the Pertwee era specifically, like the outdoorsman type.
Yeah, the everyman.
Like Spearhead from Space had a guy like this, who's just an everyman hunter, trapper, who just goes around. Oh, God. So this is sort of back to basics approach for the Pertwee era here. Alice is very much an archetype. And, so he's found a thing belonging to Dr. Tyler that came from space, I think, like a weather balloon or some shit.
Yeah, it was a weather balloon that was monitoring solar flares, I believe.
Cosmic rays, solar flares,
Cosmic rays, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever it is starts ticking like a Geiger counter, and Alice just...
And at this point, it was like we saw a rear shot of him where he was bending down in order to do that. And I swear to God, he looks like Colin Baker from the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just with that big old afro.
Oh my god.
Which is actually kind of funny because later on there are jelly babies as well, and this seems to like predict doctors almost.
Oh wait, you're actually talking about jelly babies. I thought you were making a joke about the monsters in this episode.
No. Those are the caramel critters.
The second Doctor does at one point have jelly babies.
Yeah. So that's
for no real
prescient.
reason, because he didn't have them during his run, but...
Like I said, it's really weird. It almost seems to predict the Doctor that's coming up next.
Yeah, it's only a year and a half late. It's only almost 2 years later, because this was the beginning in 1973, and at the end of 1974, we have Tom Baker as the Doctor doing jelly babies.
Yeah.
So that's wild. Anyway, so we're back at Unit HQ, because we've probably mentioned this before in Inferno, but that didn't really have Unit and whatnot. They were just all stuck at a power station with an asshole. So the third Doctor is the scientific advisor for Unit, which has the Brigadier and Sergeant Benton, Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, yeah.
Yay.
And his companion for most of the Pertwee years, Jill Grant. What do y'all think of Jill Grant?
She was fine.
I really like her.
Yeah. See, interesting about Jill Grant is when she's first introduced, and I can't remember the name of the serial, so you might have to fill me in.
Terror of the Autons.
Yeah, thank you. She's sort of depicted as a bit, thick.
Yeah, it's a direct contrast to Liz Shaw, and it's kind of deliberately done this way. Like, they kind of thought, oh, Liz Shaw was too competent. Well, what the Doctor Who companion really needs to do is just ask the Doctor what's going on and scream at a monster.
But she's not thick, and this story actually proves it.
Yeah, she definitely has some character growth.
She has a moment, I think it's in the second or third part, where it's really Jo that gets the plot going. It's Jo that comes up with the idea to get them out of the situation.
I know the scene you're talking about. And yes.
It's not the Doctor's thinking that through. It's Jo initially.
I don't know if I would call her an underrated companion, but
no, she's very popular. I wouldn't call her underrated.
Yeah, underappreciated maybe. I don't know.
Classic companions. If you ask somebody who is your favorite classic companion,
she's better than she seems.
Your most obvious answer is going to be Sarah Jane Smith.
Sarah Jane. Ace.
The second answer would probably be Jo Grant.
She's up there. She might be like number 5 in the top 5. I haven't thought through all the way, but she's really good.
We also get some sort of nice silliness where Dr. Tyler is at Unit HQ with Benton, Sergeant Benton, the Brigadier, Jo, and the Doctor. Says, what can the unit do to help, Doctor? He says, press me that silicone rod, and he stirs his tea with it.
It's so good.
I love the sass. The sass is fantastic.
Yeah, the Brit just gives his look to the camera like, really?
Before that even, the Brigadier's like, so Doctor, what can I do to help? Oh, pass me the briefcase. I meant, what can Unit do to help?
Yeah.
The silicone rod bit is gold.
Nicholas Courtney gets to give some great faces to the camera in this one.
Oh, Nicholas Courtney is a treasure in this. He's just having like the worst day ever.
then he he gets annoyed at Dr. Tyler.
Make yourself at home. We're only a top secret military organization.
The sass. I live for the sass.
So the technobabble stuff that happens here at the lab is that Dr. Tyler's been developing x-rays of his cosmic rays, and he's been getting weird readings. And when they investigate the latest plate, they find Alice's face in the rays. Also, this thing is apparently traveling faster than light, which, that's impossible.
Yeah, I think they need to face it. Something weird's going on.
Mm-hmm.
What a shame! This is science fiction.
So, the Doctor and Jo go off to investigate where Alice disappeared, and Dr. Tyler's just working on the plates in the lab. And while he does, he gets whooshed away too. And then we get some weird shit. I don't know if does the blob show up yet?
Yeah, the blob consumes Tyler.
Yeah, the blob is that's just such a cheeky 70s effect. They really love their like blue screening.
I am going to say, do you guys know of the American, I guess you could say it's a block of shows under the Toonami tagline?
I've heard of it.
I heard Toonami, yes.
So Toonami has a host. I believe his name was Bob.
Tom.
It was Tom.
I know.
And every so often they would go ahead and upgrade him. At one point, there was a time where they wanted to upgrade him, but they thought, you know what, let's make this into a contest of some sort. So they developed a story about a blob that went around devouring shit. And there's this one really horrific scene where you actually see Tom get eaten by this blob, and that scarred me for life. So I did not take well to seeing this blob going around killing people.
I mean, blobs eating people is old horror trope.
Well, see, the thing is, I have a phobia about being eaten.
Okay.
So it's like I'm fine with zombie movies, but I can't stand certain aspects of zombie movies.
Yeah, I understand
like
that.
entrail eating.
I will say that's probably not something you want to admit to the internet at large.
No, trust me, I know, but still, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't like seeing stuff like that happen. It's like, I'm fine with the thing, because that's not technically quote-unquote eating, but I don't really like blobs that go around and absorb people while they're screaming. Ugh, no.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, this blob is pretty tame, though. All it does is just whoosh you away to somewhere. It doesn't actually, like... It's not like this...
But you don't know that at first.
Liquid. It's just a green screen effect.
Yeah.
And we
still
see
not
it in
something
action
I like.
again. Fallon. Anyway, unfortunately for Kat, we see it in action again, because after the Doctor and Joe investigate where Alice disappeared, they head back to Unit HQ, and they park Bessie, which was, we saw Bessie in Inferno, that old-timey yellow car that Pertwee has. He parks the car outside, and out of the drain comes the blob. And it absorbs his car. Well, I say absorbs, but it just makes the screen go...
No.
It disappears his car.
It disappears his car. Exactly. So the blob is after the Doctor specifically. Which is bad news. And what's even worse bad news is that this isn't the only fun, friendly creature attacking Unit HQ. As out of nowhere appear...
Jellies!
These things!
The caramel critters.
A bunch of scaly jelly things attacking Unit HQ.
I guess they
Bubble
needed
wrap
like
that's somehow more deadlier than the one in Kerblam.
Oh, fuck!
Damn it.
I always love the line that the one unit soldier has when he's on guard, and they just appear. He's like, "Holy Moses, what's that?"
Yeah.
I don't know why, but for some reason, it looks like he says something else, but they just dubbed in Holy Moses.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just a trick of something where he was like starting to say something else and then he stopped, he recovered. But honestly, it looks like he was about to say like "holy shit" or something.
Yeah. It could have been ADR'd into something else.
Could have been, who knows. But yeah, we've got Unit HQ under siege by these things who are immune to bullets, and they have these glowy claws, and they make shit blow up. They're a goofy Doctor Who monster.
They're fine.
I mean, they are.
Unofficial name for them is gel guards.
Gel guards. Oh, God.
They're not made of jelly.
Who knows what they're made of, but either way.
Well, I'm not going to the central one to find out.
I would say caramel. It's very obviously caramel.
I'm not going to the central one to find out what they're made of.
So the other blob, the green screen one, is in the unit lab, and it's absorbing. It absorbs like part of the door and the surrounding wall.
Yeah.
And just makes it vanish. And shit's going wild. And the Doctor pulls him, Joe, and Benton into the TARDIS. And Benton's never been in the TARDIS before, so he just takes a look around like, what in the shit?
Yeah. And the interesting thing about this is that Benton says he's not surprised. There's pretty much nothing surprises me around you anymore, Doctor. He looks surprised to me.
Yeah, well, he's still like kind of. Oh, that's kind of fucked up.
I don't think he's telling the truth.
Since it does come up, though you're probably aware, but UNIT has had dealings with the Doctor before, pre-Third Doctor. The Second Doctor showed up to meet. God, what rank was he?
Corporal.
Colonel.
Yeah.
Lethbridge Stewart.
Lethbridge Stewart was a colonel, and Benton was a corporal.
Yeah. It was so he showed up in the episode "The Web of Fear." That was the first appearance of Nicholas Courtney, and then later, Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart and Corporal Benton show up in a Second Doctor Cyberman story called "The Invasion," which is basically like the soft boot of UNIT.
Yeah. And that's the story that gives the iconic shot of the Cybermen marching down the steps at St. Paul's Cathedral.
No, that's Darkwater Death in Heaven.
Yeah, they recreated it for Darkwater Death in Heaven.
I know, I'm just being fun. I'm just making a joke right here. But the Doctor, with no other choice, he has to send a red alert to Gallifrey. But they're dealing with their own shit.
Yeah, you know it's serious whenever the Doctor has to contact the Time Lords.
And it's especially bad because, well, this is the Third Doctor, so they kind of shit-canned him on this planet. Every so often, they let the TARDIS go on these little missions here and there to do something, but they're vague. Or in the case of Terror of the Autons again, they just have a Time Lord show up and say, "Oh, hello, Doctor. You're arch enemies on this planet, so we're just giving you a heads up. Bye!" That's
literally it, though.
That's literally what happened. Have you seen Terror of the Autons?
Yeah, because that's Joe's debut,
Am
isn't
I
it?
wrong? Is my summary wrong?
No, I'm saying you're absolutely right.
Exactly. The Time Lords in this story are dealing with their own shit. There's a black hole out in space, and it's draining all their power, and they can't do anything to stop the power drain. And this is also linked to the bullshit that's going on back at Earth. And something's attacking from the universe of antimatter.
Dun dun dun.
Da-na-na.
And
Which
so
again doesn't make sense, as they point out in the episode, because antimatter and matter meaning causes boom.
Well, yeah, that'll come in handy later. But
Yeah.
the Time Lords, or especially one Time Lord, I don't know what he is, if he's the president or just some guy in charge of this operation. I'm not sure of his title, but he's the Time Lord in charge. And he decides that desperate times call for desperate measures, and they are going to break the first law of time and allow the Doctor's past self to interact with his present self.
That guy's not the president. The guy that argues with him is the president.
Okay, the guy that argues with the president.
According to what I'm reading, the president is the one who decides to send the Doctor to himself.
Okay.
I'm not
The
sure
Chancellor
if
is
that's
the guy who's
right.
like, no, you can't do that.
Because I'm sure
I don't know.
I'm sure the guy who I think is the president says, "Oh, very well, on your own head be it."
Yeah.
Hang on, I can clear this up real fast. Who played the president of the council? Roy Purcell. Roy Purcell is definitely the dude who said, no, you can't do that. So they got it wrong here.
Yeah, I thought he was the president, because if he wasn't the president, why would he be telling the president you can't do that? So,
because it's the first law of time.
Yeah, fair enough. But anyway, these two have a bit of an argument. The supervisor, or whatever he is, wins the argument.
So they're going to send the Doctor's past self back.
There's some good overacting from Roy Purcell where he goes, but you can't.
So they're all holed up in the TARDIS, and all of a sudden, the Third Doctor finds a recorder. Where'd that come from? Yoink!
Oh God, it's the third grade class. Everybody run!
No, but hello, here he is. It's Patrick Troughton, everybody.
Yep. Did you miss him?
And an actually decent green screen effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cute the way his arm like comes over the time rotor. The
he just sort of winks into existence.
And then the rest of him blinks into existence. It's a good effect. It just catches you off guard. It's like, whoa, what the? Oh, hi.
Yeah, and we get the beginning of a running gag that lasts even to this day. With, oh, you've changed things around. I don't like it.
Yeah,
I love it.
We even get that in the modern era.
Yeah, like the last time we saw it, they changed it around for Ghost Monument.
Yeah,
like the Crystal TARDIS. You've redecorated. I
really
love
like
it.
I really like it. Yeah. Well, of course she does. She gets a custard cream dispenser.
Oh God! So well, you wanted a good Patrick Troughton outing. Here you go.
Yay!
He's
Well,
great.
I thought we enjoyed the Macroterra, but
oh well, I know, but you wanted to submit
fair
a good
enough.
Patrick Troughton. Yeah, so you got yours.
Yeah, and he and Pertwee's interactions are the highlight for me of this entire story.
They kept that up for all their lives. Like they kept that faux rivalry up, even at, like fan conventions and shit.
So you're
like,
telling
there's
me,
a story.
you're telling me that Jon Pertwee and Patrick Troughton were the first people to establish kayfabe. I love it.
They like ran around with water pistols and shit at conventions.
That's amazing. I wish there was footage of this.
Who knows? There might be. I mean, it was the 80s. Someone, hang on, John. I'm just gonna Jon Pertwee water pistol. I'm gonna see this.
Just be careful you don't get the footage of Jon Pertwee swearing on the set of Five Doctors instead.
Okay. We're there's some good shit here. There's some good shit here.
Yeah, link it for later. But
okay.
Yeah, they just keep bickering through most of this.
Randy, put this in.
Yeah. That's not a water pistol. That's like a proper gun that he's got.
I'm sorry, Fred. You missed the best image. That's literally one image away from it, which is this one.
I was just about to link this.
He's gonna kill him. He's gonna kill the man.
God.
Also, Joe references the Beatles.
Oh yeah, she references "I Am the Walrus."
Good
and she's and she's like, "What's that? It's a song by the Beatles." And Troughton just picks up his recorder. Oh, how's it go?
We haven't time for that now.
Actually, did Troughton fiddle with the recorder in Macroterra? I forget.
Didn't he play it at the end when they were celebrating?
Yeah, he might have. But Troughton fiddling with the recorder is really early Troughton days, back when he was still.
I know he was fiddling with it when he got sent to his room. He was fiddling with it, and then once the dude was gone, then he put it down on the bed and left.
Okay. But yeah, playing the recorder is basically like Troughton being a giant troll, and I'm here for it. And the recorder is just gonna. It's like a major plot point, so. We need to establish that he has it.
I'm still chuckling at those two images of messing about conventions.
Anyway, speaking of things introduced in the story that have run their way into the modern era, you linked that one too, Kat. I see.
I had to.
Oh my god! What?
He's got a fucking pitcher of water.
Yes. He just has a whole pitcher of water and he's chasing after Patrick.
So hang on a minute. They established kayfabe and they invented the Ice Bucket Challenge. These two are amazing.
Oh my god! If time travel's ever invented, I want to go to conventions.
Yeah.
Just to see.
If time travel's ever invented, I want to go to the first screening of the Wizard of Oz movie.
That's cute.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of things you can do with time travel. But yeah. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Things introduced in this story that come up in later. Contact! Boo!
Yeah. Epilepsy warning.
Oh, what? Are you going to... Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not going to put it... No, I'm just saying, this was, like, not a good scene for epileptic.
Mm-hmm. Well, once they establish what's going on, Troughton's up to speed on the telepathic thing. Well, all they do is they keep bickering. So basically, the Time Lords are like, oh, these two are just a bunch of idiots who just fight with each other. So what are we going to do? We'll send the third one back. Why not?
Yeah, the idea that he'll keep them in line.
Which he kind of does.
My favorite line here is from the wiki. It says, the Time Lords, exasperated that they're not getting along, send the first Doctor to keep them in order.
Which
it's like a couple of parents sending in the older brother.
It's basically what happens.
Yeah, it's a pretty good comparison.
Thanks to plot and health reasons, their teleport screws up, and Hartnell's caught in like a time eddy or something.
Yeah, he calls it
so
a time eddy.
He can only appear on a CRT periodically to give advice.
He is basically sitting inside a glass pyramid, which I thought was maybe meant to symbolise an hourglass.
Maybe. I don't know.
You know, time running out and all that, but he gets a great line. The line I referenced in the introduction, he says, "Oh, so you're my replacements, a dandy and a clown."
The greatest line ever.
Yeah, it's a very famous line, that.
God, I really have grown to like William Hartnell because I've been watching a lot of his old stuff that's been missing. And he's great. He's at his best when he's just like, it's like, he's kind of like Yoda almost, you know, just a troll.
Yeah, the best moment he has is when he's hiding inside a dog.
Oh, God, that's amazing. Oh, that story is just something.
It's just the little face he gives as he climbs out.
He's such a troll. I love him. But here he's just... It's nice to see him, even if he's clearly unwell. He doesn't have the same energy he did.
Yeah.
It's still a great treat to have 3 Doctors.
It's nice to see him, and you kind of couldn't do the 10th anniversary without him, but at the same time, it is a bit sad knowing about his health.
Yeah.
Knowing that 2 years later, after this, he'd be dead.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Anyway, he shouts at the second and third Doctors. He says, you know, what's this? It's a bridge. I already knew a bridge. Cross it.
And that gives the third Doctor, I should say, the idea to turn off the force field and head out to confront the blob, which he does, but Joe also follows him in the moment of panic, and they both vanish to the blob. End part 1.
Yeah, that's your cliffhanger.
We should mention that the second Doctor did flip a coin, where the third Doctor is the one who lost and had to go out there to the thing.
Oh, so now we're pulling for more of the future, too. The second Doctor's seen Warrior's Gate.
Oh, God.
And yet this has a better outcome than Warrior's Gate because it actually is worth something.
Well, I still love Warrior's Gate to pieces, even if...
Yeah,
it was fantastic. It's just there was no reason to be flipping the coin the entire time.
So part 2 opens with this, and then Benton and the second Doctor head out. The greatest fucking scene. The greatest bit of silent acting from Nicholas Courtney, because he comes in, and the second Doctor's like, "Stay back, Brigadier! Don't go get close to the blob." And Nicholas Courtney, Cat, please gift this. He just does this slow head turn. He's just like, "What the fuck?"
And then, just to make it even, he goes, "Oh no."
Hello. Because he's been working, so from his perspective, he's dealt with the second Doctor twice. Then he's dealt with the third Doctor as his scientific advisor for a couple of years here. Well, I say a couple of years. Who knows with the unit era and unit dating and all this shit. Sometime, let's say. He's dealt with all that. And now there's all kinds of shit happening. And all of a sudden, he's back to the second Doctor. He's just...
Just so I know, is this the one you mean?
Yes! That's it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, Nick Courtney's just so good.
He is so good.
I love it.
Yeah, so after that, we get more Time Lord reiterating, but I guess it's just to, like, since this was the weekly story, it's just catching anyone who missed up to speed on what's going on.
Yeah.
It's information we already know. But they do mention that the first Doctor is caught in the time eddy, so he can't actually physically participate. We do see what happened to the third Doctor and Joe, which is they're in a quarry. Which, yay.
Also a mainstay of the Third Doctor era.
Well, a mainstay of Classic Who in general.
Yeah.
But it's wild because all the stuff that the Blob transported is also here. So you've got some props from the lab. You've got the lab door, like the cracked wall. And Bessie's here too. Hooray.
I do like the little gag that they do with the door where she's like knocking at it and it's locked. He's like, well, you can see right there.
It says
He
no
points to the
admittance.
sign that's on it.
Yeah, so back at Unit HQ, the second Doctor's trying to explain what's going on to the Brigadier. The Brigadier's like, look, did we fight the Yeti in the underground? Yeah. And we've dealt with the Cybermen? Yeah. And then we dealt with the Autons? It's no use asking me about that. From my perspective, it hasn't happened yet. Like, he can't wrap his head around it. He's just so done in this story.
The Brig is just...
Delight.
He's had it. It's so good.
So this leads to another great gag where the second Doctor, he lashes up this thing to neutralize the Blob and keep it at bay. But then the Brigadier wants him to address the security conference in Geneva or some shit. And he's like, wait, but I can't go talk to them. I'm not your doctor. I already explained. You're his assistant. Assistant?
I find it really funny how the Brigadier has seen all this weird shit, but what really stops him is the fact that there are two doctors now.
Yeah.
That's what makes him go, all right, I'm done.
Well, in fairness, wouldn't that make you stop in your tracks?
Not really.
God.
If you saw someone who you knew, and then you saw that same person who you knew in a different form, say younger or the other gender,
I'd be slightly confused, but then I'd eventually accept it.
Okay. Here's a fun fact I just remembered because I've been watching those episodes recently. Nick Courtney actually was in a story with William Hartnell for a couple episodes. He was in 4 episodes of the Daleks' Master Plan, and he was a space secret agent. It's interesting. Yeah. So he's been on screen with the first 3 Doctors.
Cool.
Nice.
Actually, well, he's been on screen with Tom Baker and Peter Davison. He was on screen with all. And the only time he got to meet Colin Baker was Dimensions in Time.
He's been on screen with all 7 Doctors technically, if you count Dimensions in Time, but if you don't, he's been on screen with all but Colin Baker.
Yeah.
We may well cover his appearance with Sylvester McCoy later.
It really helps put into perspective exactly how big his cameo was when what was the one after the Dark Water one?
Death in Heaven.
Was it Dark Water? Death in Heaven.
Yeah, we don't talk about the Cyberbrig.
Cyberbrig.
We don't talk about Cyberbrig.
But it just really puts into perspective how big of a moment that was, because this man, even if he wasn't the same character, he's been in Doctor Who since pretty much the beginning.
They did bring him back for the Sarah Jane Adventures as well before he died.
Yeah.
I forget the story, but basically he kills off his I suppose his replacement at UNIT, who turns out to be an alien.
Oh, wild.
Oh, that's lucky.
Right. So the Doctor's lashed up this thing to keep the Blob at bay, but now the Brigadier wants him to talk to these people, to UN people. So he leaves Benton in charge of it. The thing promptly doesn't work, making the Blob go apeshit, and Benton, the second Doctor, and the Brigadier all have to go in the TARDIS.
And the reason why it doesn't work is that he's actually fed the beast rather than tame it.
Oh yeah, he threw his gum wrapper at it. Oops.
The machine that he rigs up to pacify the Blob, he makes a mistake because it's antimatter. What he does to it makes it stronger.
Oh yeah. Oops.
And then they run into the TARDIS, and now it's Nicholas Courtney's turn to be shocked, and he really is shocked.
Oh Well, by shocked, I mean even more done. He's like, this is what you've been doing with Unit all this time?
Yeah.
God,
Shock gives
I
way to
love
anger,
Courtney.
gives way to incredulity. Back on the alien world, then.
We get a glimpse of the being in charge of all this.
Yeah, who could that possibly be?
Ooh, indeed. Ooh.
And then Joe and the Doctor meet up with Dr. Tyler, who's also been taken
Yay!
here. And we also see a glimpse of Ollis, but he's just like sort of hiding in the background.
Yeah. So everyone that the blob is attacked.
And the Doctor gets a great line to explain what's going on about where they are. So he's figured out they're inside a black hole that Tyler was investigating, researching. And what's the line he comes up with? Oh, yeah. We're inside an anomaly, inside an impossibility.
It's cute.
Yeah, lovely line. But Dr. Tyler seems to grasp the situation quite well.
He's
To
a
be fair,
scientist.
he's a man of science who specifically looks at these sorts of things, so as long as the Doctor talks sense to him.
True. But then everything goes to hell when the jail guards show up again.
Whoops.
And they surrender, and they're taken into what is referred to as a palace of antimatter. Can I just say I love this set?
Oh, it's neat.
For 70s interior sets, this does the job really well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's all
they
shiny
look
like the
they're
jail
made of
guards.
caramel.
Yeah, it's made out of caramel.
If they look like they're made of caramel, does that make the big bad guy the Candy Man?
No.
One of these days we're doing Happiness Patrol.
No.
And it'll be glorious.
So, whose choice is it next, by the way?
Counter argument, no.
Hi, Cat. It's you.
Oh, look at that.
So I'm not going to be here next week.
So, back on the TARDIS, 2 is keeping on after his recorder. He's like, where put my recorder? And the Brig just loses. He's just like, Doctor, we're under attack. And flute.
Yeah, you're more interested in some flute. I think you can probably tell that we all consider Nicholas Courtney to be the MVP of this episode.
Oh,
absolutely.
It's the 3 doctors I know, but I just love him in this. Like, the Brig is usually a good supporting character.
Yeah, the Brig's good anyway, but he's especially good in this one.
Oh, agreed. Oh my
God. Can you put up one of those Not Always Sunny title cards where it says the Brigadier is broken by the gang?
The gang breaks the Brigadier.
Yeah, there we
go.
And there goes a copyright strike.
Does the copyright strike go if I hum?
Monetize this.
Does the copyright strike go if I hum it badly? Come on, man.
Sometimes even people singing trigger it.
Yeah, but if they're singing well, it triggers it.
Sometimes if they're singing it at all and it's remotely recognizable as the song.
I think it has to be a certain amount of time that you play
it. Will get claimed.
I think it's 15 seconds.
Which is why that time I sang the Lance Archer theme, Everybody Dies. I was looking over my email account nervously for the next 2 weeks, thinking, oh God, have I gone too far here?
Oh my God. So, this episode has a little bit of, I don't know if you call it padding, but basically Dr. Tyler tries to get away and fails.
Yeah, this is very Scooby-Doo.
Well, it can't be more Scooby-Doo than Love and Monsters.
It's a little less Scooby-Doo than Love and Monsters, but it's quite Scooby-Doo in that he runs around corridors and ends up where he started.
Basically. It doesn't do much except, fill them in at a time, but... Back in the TARDIS, 2 gets another message from the first Doctor, and it's basically, turn off the force field, you big dummy.
He does.
Yeah.
And before this, we get a nice little moment where the third Doctor does a little bit of magic.
Oh yeah, this is cute.
He produces a pencil. He says, "Now look at this. This is a pencil, right? It looks like a pencil, or is it a bunch of flowers?"
Yay!
Was this your card?
This is important because he says, "Oh yeah, but that's just a conjuring trick, isn't it?" Yeah, he says, "Yes, but this is exactly what this is too. This is a big scientific conjuring trick."
Ah.
Also, the flowers do actually play a part later on, which is clever.
Oh, that's cute.
But yeah, I like that.
The second episode cliffhanger is wild. The second Doctor turns off the force field, letting the blob go apeshit. And then the entirety of Unit HQ... Well, first, the gel guards all attacking Unit HQ. There is a nice, quick little battle scene in this episode, I believe, where they're attacking and not doing much to them. It's just your requisite bit of action.
One guy even shoots a rocket launcher at one of them. And a direct hit does not take it down. It just sort of catches on fire a little bit.
Which is good, but not as good as the part in the Damon where they shoot a magic stone gargoyle with a rocket launcher, and it explodes, and then it rewinds itself back together.
I love that. That sounds amazing. The battle that you're referring to takes place in part 1. In part 2, the men have just been told to stand by and not engage directly.
All right, fair.
So they're just standing around when Unit HQ just disappears.
Yeah, first the gel guards disappear, and then Unit HQ just vanishes, and the final episode is the entire goddamn building flying into the black hole.
We also get this strange, I suppose you call it a continuity error, in that they show the same shot twice. So gel guards disappear, HQ disappears, shot zooming on a shot unit soldier's face. And then they zoom on his face again for some reason. They don't do this in part 3 when they're showing the last 30 seconds of part 2.
Okay, not for the reprise. Okay.
So it was just a continuity error, I guess.
Oops.
All I can imagine now is them having to report to someone. We lost the building.
Yeah, they Benton refers to that in the final part as well.
Oh my god. Oh, well, before that, once we get to episode 3, the third Doctor, Joe and Dr. Tyler, meet the being behind this palace.
Yes, they do. So the first 2 parts have been establishing what's been going on Earth. This next part is very much establishing our monster/villain.
Our antagonist.
Omega!
Ow.
Omega, indeed, yes. So this is a classic Doctor Who villain that a lot of fans hold in high regard. A lot of fans would like to see him back at some point.
He has been back, in fact.
I mean, in the modern era.
Oh, in the modern era. Yeah.
So much so that there was actually a rumor that was started that it was Omega who was behind all the business with the cracks in time in Series 5. And these rumors went as far as to say that Jason Isaacs had been cast as Omega, and they'd seen Omega's armor and gauntlets hanging up backstage, so it had to be true. It was complete bollocks.
I wonder how people would react to that rather than the anger they had when Time of the Doctor aired and Stephen Moffat was just, oh, by the way, this was the cause of the cracks. Moving on.
And in fairness, that anger was justified because that was ridiculous.
Listen, I'm like too far into the investment in the Silence arc to really have fault with that. I am just utterly fascinated by that story arc.
I was more annoyed about how he managed to hand wave away the silence in one sentence. Genetically modified priest, confession priest. Jesus Christ.
I probably need to read or watch that again because I'm still lost on exactly what happened with the Silence story.
Oh, I can explain that.
Yeah, but another time.
It's funny just to think of the off-screen implications and how goddamn idiotic they were.
But Omega here, he is a very special figure to Time Lord mythology.
He is one of the great founders of Time Lord history.
Yeah, and now this is even before Chris Chibnall was messing up Gallifreyan canon for years to come.
Yeah,
there were 2 versions of how Gallifrey came to be. In the first, there are 3 ancient Time Lords: Rassilon, the Other, and Omega.
Oh God, the Other.
And they created Time Lord Society. And there's some debate: is the Other the Doctor or not, or what?
That's a whole can of worms we're not going to delve in.
Absolutely not.
Rassilon's that old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Rassilon has been retooled quite a few times. The other version doesn't involve Omega and Rassilon at all. It involves a being called Theta Sigma, who may or may not be the Doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that.
And if I really want to alienate you people, I'd talk about looms, but I'm not going to do that either. So Omega...
Oh, no looms. No.
So Omega...
Isn't the looms the way they're supposed to have babies or whatever?
Yes. No
so Omega
looms.
then...
Omega then.
In this version of the continuity, was a solar engineer who created a supernova that powered Time Lord civilization, but paid the ultimate price for it, or so they believed, and was destroyed in a big explosion. But he wasn't destroyed, he was just sent away to this antimatter universe.
And he's been here for ages.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know how long he's been there.
We'll say he's been there for ages, considering...
he's definitely been there for ages. Yes, and he formed the world that they're on, the palace and all of that.
Let's put it this way. In modern Who terms, he's the frog.
Yeah, actually, yes. Actually, yes.
Yeah.
He formed this universe, or at least the part of the universe he's in, via the power of his will.
And also, we should bring this up. This is a universe of antimatter, but the blob thing he created can exist in a world of antimatter and matter. And whatever it teleports to the antimatter world gets converted to antimatter.
Yeah, so it can exist in his universe.
Because, as we said, if matter and antimatter meet, there's a massive...
Annihilation. It's called annihilation.
Annihilation. Whatever. Yeah. But everyone teleported here has been processed to antimatter in some way. So
that's your science fact for this week.
Fun! And there's a really great line that just sums up Omega. And he's voiced by the wonderful Stephen Thorne, who just has this booming...
He gives Omega this real presence to him. You can tell this guy's a threat.
Yeah, and there's a wonderful line from him when the Doctor says something like, "Oh, Omega, you haven't been forgotten. In the history of the Time Lords, you're a great hero." And Omega just goes, "A hero? I should have been a god!"
Yeah, I also love his mask.
Oh, his mask is great.
Yeah, in fact, the whole look of the character is great.
So, cutting from that back to Unit HQ, we get even more of the brig being done. So they all get out of the TARDIS, and they're like, "Oh well, whatever happened, happened." And also, we should mention the Brigadier has been in contact with his forces on his walkie-talkie radio, I suppose. The Doctor modified it.
Yeah, the second Doctor amplified the power of his radio with the TARDIS, but now they're on the antimatter universe. It doesn't work.
So, no go. So the Brigadier just goes to head outside and see what's going on. He opens the door, and all he sees it's just a quarry green screened in there, and he's just like, he's completely done. He's like, "Doctor, you've gone too far. You've moved the entirety of Unit HQ. There's sand everywhere."
He thinks that he's moved it onto a beach.
He does not say that it's coarse and rough and irritating and gets everywhere.
There's even a great bit where he insists they're in Norfolk.
He's just like, right. I love the line where I don't even know where this is.
I'm sure that's Cromer.
Yeah, I'll nip out, find a phone, and telephone the authorities. I'm fairly sure that's Cromer. Where's Cromer? Just for
it's in Norfolk. I believe my geography is not that great, but
okay.
I believe it's near Norfolk.
Are you sure you're not American then?
Don't you start. I've got enough of that from Polly for 5 years.
Howdy, y'all.
5 more years. 5
It's the way he just delivers the sand everywhere gets me every time.
Yeah. Basically, the 3 Doctors is Nicholas Courtney is done at the serial.
Exactly. But everyone goes out. The second Doctor and Benton get captured by jail guards. But that leaves the Brigadier, who comes up with his new partner, Mr. Ollis.
Mr. Ollis, who he
Yay.
conscripts basically into helping him.
The Brig and Ollis, the ultimate team.
Yeah. It's not. They don't do a huge amount. I mean, Ollis has got his shotgun, which has been similarly converted into antimatter because he was holding it, I guess.
Yeah, he had it on, so it came with him.
But they don't do much apart from hide away from jail guards.
Yeah. But they're the secret task force, military force, under enemy lines.
It is nice that the Brig gets something to do other than just being dumb.
So yeah, 2 and Benton get brought into Omega, and Omega pretty soon quickly figures out that what the Time Lords have done is they've broken the first law of time and sent 2 of the same Time Lord.
And he's furious about this.
He has them all locked up.
He thinks he's been tricked. Omega thinks he's been tricked by the Doctors.
And so he has them all locked up. We should mention the cell, because this is interesting. It's like just a room that the jail guards escort you to, and then the open door just is replaced by a solid wall.
Yeah, because Tyler says, not much of a prison, is it, with an open door, and then the door just disappears.
Yeah. So everyone's locked up in that now, and this is where Jo gets that great moment you mentioned, where she gets to be smart and figure shit out.
Yeah. So you know how in the Day of the Doctor, which is another anniversary team up,
right?
Clara gives the Doctor some good ideas that they put into action.
Yeah.
Here it's Jo taking that role.
Mm-hmm.
So she says, well, Omega created this place by his will, but you're not just a one Time Lord, you're 2 Time Lords. Surely with your will, you can will up a door.
We should also mention that it's a singularity in the black hole, which gives Omega the power to create things in this world with his will. And once the Doctor explains that, the third Doctor explains this, and Jo says, well, there's 2 of you now. If Omega can conjure up a whole world, then 2 Time Lords should be able to make a door.
Yeah. And it works.
So
incredibly, it works. They conjure up this blue TARDIS-looking door.
And they head on out in it.
Yeah. Now, they tell the 3 of them to stay there. It's Benton, Tyler, and Jo. But Tyler immediately ruins this by saying, I want to see the Singularity Chamber. And Jo says to Benton, we're not going to be left behind. Come on, Sergeant. So they leave as well. So Jo, she had the bright idea. She showed off her intelligence in abundance. And then Curiosity got the better of everybody.
Whoops. So 2 and 3 go and find the Singularity, which is just, a hole spewing smoke. And Omega's absolutely goddamn furious. He's just like, what? Well, imagine an even more indignant what. I don't want to scream at the top of my lungs on call here.
You can't outpower Stephen Thorne. Don't even try.
I can't. He actually recently passed away, I think, this year or last year, which is sad. When was that? Let me look it up.
Well, this is a tribute to his memory then as well, because he does a fantastic job here.
May 2019.
The Brig is MVP. Yeah, the Brig is MVP, and I think Omega is second.
Oh yeah, Omega's iconic. He's iconic. He's a figure in Doctor Who lore now, solely because of Stephen Thorne's performance.
I would like to see him come back at some point.
Well, maybe
in the modern era. Although if Stephen Thorne's gone, maybe not. But
we're not talking about the Peter Davison era with Omega and this giant chicken.
No, we're not talking about that particular story.
I'm sorry, what?
Omega would appear again in the 5th Doctor era, and we'll leave it there.
Hang on. I'm not going to leave it there. I'm going to get Kat a picture of this, and all of you too.
And we'll leave it there, and I will not put up the picture on the screen because I'm a petty bitch.
Okay, well,
I will put it on the screen. What the fuck?
looks like Rajax from Power Rangers.
I've seen Arc of Infinity and I forgot about the giant space chicken.
I've unfortunately seen this too. Yeah, you never forget. I forgot how.
You might have influenced Cat's pick for the next story.
Well, we'll see. I broke Cat.
If you had one of the three co-hosts breaks on the podcast, live on the podcast, take that part of your bingo card off.
It's Always Sunny card. The gang breaks Cat. Right. So,
It looks like if Jinzo was a chicken.
Jinzo was a chicken.
Jinzo, lay an egg.
Oh
Okay.
God.
I'm
derailed.
okay.
If
I'm
somebody
crying
actually
slightly,
gives us
but I'm
if somebody
okay.
actually, for once actually gives us a story suggestion through our email or our Twitter account, what's the betting now we get this?
Oh God.
Oh jeez.
I know one viewer might give us this.
Once
Well,
again,
actually,
you
Rainiac,
have doomed us all.
Speaking of Rainiac, what is that Twitter address that they can contact us at in order
It
to
is
offer
at
suggestions?
Reviews Doctor.
And
Yeah.
isn't there an email at goexterminateyourself@gmail.com?
There is indeed. I usually put this at the end of the episode, but
We'll do it again for sure. In
Yeah.
case you
This
forgot.
mid-roll section brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
I laughed over that
my
last
God.
bit. But she said Red Shadow Legends, and I roared.
So, can we get to the episode 3 cliffhanger?
Oh, can we? Because this is so goofy.
So, Omega is furious at the second and third Doctors, and they decide to try and fight the will of Omega. So 3 bravely steps up to do telepathic combat, which leads to him fighting the dark side of Omega's mind.
As represented by a guy in a troll mask wearing green bubble wrap.
And they wrestle.
By God, King!
Oh, God! No, don't do it, Omega! Don't do it! By God, that killed him! By God, that killed him!
If
This guy's
Omega's,
not with
if
the seas
Omega's
broken
dark
in
side had
half.
dropped the leg, I would have lost it.
Elbow drop. Batista bomb him.
While this is happening, Joe Benton and Dr. Tyler escape Omega's
They do,
base.
and this again, Joe shows some intelligent thinking. The flowers that the Doctor has discarded from his little magic trick performance are still on the ground. And Ben Stevens is like, what the hell are these doing? And she said, that's near the entrance, come on. So she uses that as a marker to get to the entrance.
That's nice. Oh, that's nice. That's good.
It's almost like
Good
this was
thinking,
an
Joe.
apology for making Joe Grant dumb in the first time we saw her.
Well, yeah. Jo is smarter than... She's a smart cookie. She's smarter than she looks. But yeah, the third episode cliffhanger is the third Doctor getting chokeholded by this troll mask wrestler.
He does a good job against the wrestler for the wrestler. You got me saying wrestler.
Wait,
against
no,
the wrestler.
no, hang on. He's wearing a mask. He's a luchador.
Yes.
Not all wrestlers who wear masks are luchadors.
He's wearing a mask. He's a luchador now.
Kane is not a luchador.
Yes, he is.
He can do Hurricane Ranas, but he's not a luchador.
He's a luchador.
So, episode 4 then?
Yeah. So as you say, that they're fighting in this black void because it wouldn't be a third Doctor series without some hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, that's
or some
true.
one-on-one combat of some kind, be it fencing or...
Anyway, Omega just basically lets go, having...
Yeah, because the second Doctor convinces him. He says, if you destroy him will not be able to help you escape.
And speaking of clever, this is actually a really neat manipulative move on 2's part, where he babbles on about his recorder and shit, and he's just testing Omega's patience. And once Omega just flips off the handle and the screen shakes and shit, he quietly says to 3, that was his plan all along. He wanted to bait Omega into getting mad to see how his control worked. See if he would lose control, you know?
Yeah, he sees his temper as a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Which is clever. He also does it by saying, you couldn't conjure me up a recorder, could you?
All the story, he's been asking for this goddamn flute.
It's not a...
Whatever.
Yeah, this musical instrument.
Mm. Oh, I love Troughton in this. Like, he's everything at once.
He is just the ultimate troll.
He's the ultimate troll. Like, and including the recorder is obviously a nod to early Troughton.
Yeah, it's a nice little fan
He
service thing.
kind of did troll with that. Like, you haven't seen Power of the Daleks, but Ben doesn't trust the second Doctor because he's just regenerated, and it's like they've never seen a regeneration before. So who the fuck are you? You're not really the Doctor. And he won't answer him. All he just does is plays the recorder. Will you stop playing that damn thing and answer me?
I love it.
So it's very much a troll thing, but also, the second Doctor could be manipulative when he wanted to, which is a trait that Seven later picked up.
Yeah, but the manipulator here is Pertwee's Doctor. It's the third Doctor. Because he convinces Omega they will work with him, and there's a really nice comparison that Omega makes. He says, "You could call me the Atlas of my world." You know I'm all about Greek mythology.
Because Omega can create anything in this universe, but since he's maintaining this universe by his will, the one thing he can't do is conjure a way out.
He can't leave.
He can't leave.
If he leaves, the world will just collapse in on itself before he gets a chance to go.
His plan is to keep the second and third Doctors here so that they can maintain the universe for him to leave. So they agree, having no real other choice, to help him. And they try and help him get ready. And he mentions that the singularity has this corroding effect, but it'll be fine. In the short term, it's fine.
Doesn't Omega say that without him there'd be no time travel? So someone has to be there in order for the Time Lords to
something
time
along
travel?
those lines. Yeah.
Something like that.
He's very self-important, but yeah, and he says you'll need a sleep-like mind to exist in this reality because it's a corrosive effect.
The corrosion is it's not harmful in the short term, but in the long term it can be. But so you'll be fine for now, but you're going to need it once I'm gone. So they try to help him take off his big helmet, and they pull up the mask, and they're like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, they're horrified by something within it.
And they shut it, and Omega's
he
like,
says, "What are you doing?
Take off the mask.
Is this treachery?" He says, "We can't take off the helmet." And why can he not take off the helmet? There's nothing there to remove.
And so Omega takes off his helmet. It's a okay green screen effect.
It's all right. I mean, his black eyes become brown inside the mask.
But it is a good concept, Omega's will was so strong that he created this world, but his will was that strong that that's all that's left of him now.
Yeah, his will is keeping him alive. His will is keeping himself into being because his body's completely gone. It's corroded away to nothing.
Stephen Thorne lets out an absolutely great, heartbreaking scream of anguish and rage.
This sounds like Ebenezer Scrooge, played by Master Sim, throwing himself onto his own gravestone at the end of A Christmas Carol.
Oh my god.
It just sounds like that.
And then we should say there's a special guest here, where Omega is actually played by Alphonse Elric.
What? Right, yes. Fullmetal Alchemist.
Listen. I'm glad you didn't make a meme about the little girl and the dog like everyone does about that show.
I have my limits, and that goes too far.
God.
Yeah, I have my limits.
Also, has anybody else noticed how Omega's mask kind of looks like a fish man?
It's happened again 3 weeks in a row.
I didn't really think of that.
Record scratch.
So Omega is fucking pissed. He's just like, I'm gonna fuck everything up.
Yeah, which is his sheer anger.
Oh, things will be the
is causing his world to start destabilizing.
As he's screaming, all things will be destroyed. All things.
Yeah, he says, if all that's left of me is my will is to destroy.
So 2 and 3 leg it, and they make it back to the unit base.
They try to get to Bessie first of all, but Bessie's not there because the other party
took it.
Benton, the Brig, Joe, Dr. Tyler, and Ollis escaped in it, but they are able. I can't speak. They are able to follow the tracks, the tire marks, to get back to Unit HQ and the TARDIS.
So they all hop into the TARDIS again. The first Doctor shows up again. The Time Lords tried to send him through the black hole, but again, all they did was just make him able to communicate with them in the
there's a great little Brigadier moment again, where the gel guards have basically got them pinned in the TARDIS,
right?
So they can't get out of it. And the second Doctor points this out to the group and says, "If only I can find my recorder, something to play to pass the time." And then the bridge just goes, "We must be found for the small mercies."
I love how everybody shits on this recorder in this, and then it turns out to be the solution to everything.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but before that, the first Doctor shows up, and all three of them make contact.
He still can't get into the TARDIS because he's stuck or some such nonsense to explain his absence. Free person contact, more epilepsy warnings.
Yeah, and Troughton finds his flute. It was lodged in the force field generator of the TARDIS this entire time. How the fuck did it get in there?
I don't know, but I love the fact it did because of what this sets up.
Oh, the flute is sentient.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's pretty much all I got.
He's about to play the thing, but the third Doctor stops him and says that recorder is far more important. And then the second Doctor realizes he's going to lose the recorder. Oh no! He goes, "Look, man. When we get back out of this, I'll buy you 100. No, I'll buy you 1,000 recorders."
So now they have a plan. They call up Omega on the thing, and they're like, "Listen, we're ready to talk. We're ready to make a deal with you. Can you just let us take the TARDIS here? We don't want to walk." So Omega agrees. They materialize in this palace, and they have a plan, but they make everyone promise to go along with it, even Joe. And their plan is, if you let everyone else go, we'll stay here and try to help you.
Yeah, we've figured out a way that we can actually help you.
We'll stay. And Joe's like, "No, Doctor, you can't.
We can give you your freedom.
Joe, you got to do it."
That's the important line. We can offer you your freedom, but you have to let the
Joe
others go in order to achieve it.
Like, "Oh no!"
So they one by one the humans depart the scene. Originally it's going to be all this, but he's too frightened to go, so Dr. Tyler goes in his place.
Yeah.
He's a little bit reluctant, but he's more willing than most, so he steps through the smoke and disappears. Then it's Aldous' turn.
Then Joe, reluctantly.
No, it's not Joe. It's Sergeant Benson.
Oh,
Benson turns to try and stop, but then the brigadier says, "Now, Benson," so he goes through. Then it's Joe, but Joe wants to stay behind.
And the Doctor's like, "It'll be okay, trust me."
Yeah, but he says it in a very consoling, soothing tone.
Yeah, it's a really nice relationship these two have.
He's not harsh with her.
There's a scene, again, to bring up the Danans, which is a pretty decent story. There's a scene where, like, the villain's going to kill the Doctor, and Joe's like, "No, he's a perfect man. You can't kill him. Kill me. Spare the Doctor." So she just willingly offers up her own life to save him. So
yeah,
they have a really powerful bond.
After a shaky start, they have a really good dynamic. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Then we get a really nice moment where the Brig's the last one to go, and he turns and salutes the Doctor.
The
Doctors. So is this the first time that he saluted the Doctor?
I couldn't tell you.
Fair enough.
It might be. I'm not sure.
So they've all gone, and Omega thinks, right, now the three of us will spend eternity together, because I fulfilled my part of the bargain. And they say, right, well, now we're going to get you your freedom. And they present to him this strange box.
The force field generator from the TARDIS.
Yeah, but they don't say it's a force field generator.
Yeah, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
What's in
the force field generator, Jerry? It's the recorder.
It's the goddamn recorder.
And Omega is not happy about this.
They try and force him to do it with their contact telepathy, but Omega just laughs it off. And, he gets pissed, and he's just like, ugh. He says I forget the line he says, but the main mistake he makes is bitch slapping the force field generator out of the second Doctor's hands.
And the recorder falls out of it hits the floor, and the place is annihilated.
They run off into the
You
TARDIS.
hear Patrick Troughton shout out, "Run!"
Yep.
We don't know if they've made it yet, but Chekhov's recorder has saved the day.
So we're back at UNHQ. Everything's back to normal. Sad, but Joe is still sad. Oh no, the doctors, boo. But then the TARDIS material. It's okay.
Yeah, there's a great line the Brigadier gets saying, "Wonderful chap, both of him."
Yeah.
Because he thinks he's gone now, but no, they survived.
Omega here. What happened with the recorder here was it was stuck in the force field generator when the TARDIS slipped into the black hole. So it was protected from the matter antimatter conversion. It was still matter, just trapped in the force field. So when it fell out of the force field, matter collided with antimatter and annihilated Omega's world.
Yeah, the explanation doesn't really make much sense, but I'll let it go because the actual moment where he slaps the recorder to the ground is great.
Technobabble.
They've been building up that goddamn recorder all story.
And the whole moment where the five of them leave the planet or the world is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great.
So on this occasion, yeah, all right, it might not be a very satisfactory explanation for why it happened, but what we got from it was worth it.
I mean, I buy it. So
yeah.
The first Doctor says his farewells on the screen. He's going to get sent back to his time zone. Everything's resolved on Gallifrey. They have all the power back. So the first Doctor heads off. Bye-bye. The second Doctor vanishes after saying goodbye and everything. But for the third, the Time Lords give him a nice little reward.
They give him redemption and forgiveness.
They pardon him because the third Doctor, at the end of the second Doctor's era, he was exiled to Earth and forcefully regenerated the third Doctor. So he's been earthbound this entire time with a couple of little side trips here and there that he takes. But he is gifted a new dematerialization circuit for the TARDIS, and his memory of how to operate it comes back. They've forgiven him, and he can go off in time and space again if he wants. But,
yeah, and this is a really historic moment for the show.
Yeah, because, well, they did this to save budget back in the early 70s. But now they don't really need it, so they used the 10th anniversary story to say, okay, well, we've saved the budget. We're a big hit of a show now again. The ratings are up. Let's let the Doctor go back in time.
It's the right decision, though.
It's kind of like what Stephen Moffat did with the 50th, where the 10th used it to fix the whole Exile to Earth thing, and the 50th used it to heal the wound of the Time War and save Gallifrey.
Yeah.
Which, thank you, Chris.
But because of this, now subsequent Jon Pertwee and Beyond stories will not be always set on present-day Earth.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, even in the earlier seasons, you had like one, maybe two stories where he goes to another planet. And, well, they had the justification of, the Time Lords have sent the TARDIS awry on a secret mission of some sort.
And because of this, we get great classics such as The Curse of Peladon and some stories that are not quite so classic, which I will care not to mention. But we also get the Tom Baker era, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And that was all over the place in terms of on-world, off-world, present time, future time, past time.
And, well, the story ends with Alice coming home to life, playing, "Where have you been all this time? You'd never believe me. Is supper ready?" Roll credits. And that was 3 Doctors.
Yeah, and something we forgot to mention is that all this is not present in Unit HQ.
No,
when everyone comes back, because
he vanished.
They explained that everyone is returned when the universe was annihilated and Omega's will ceased to exist. Everyone that was taken, everything that was taken would re-emerge in its proper place. So all this was taken by the riverbank. He re-emerges there.
Right.
All the people taken at Unit HQ re-emerge there. The Doctors re-emerge in the TARDIS. Again, not quite, but I'll buy it.
Fair enough.
And then there's a great bit that you forgot as well, where the Brig and Benton are going to make a full inventory of HQ just in case anything's missing.
And Benton
says, "What do we tell them the stuff is if it is missing, sir?" And the British has got no answer for it.
He's so done.
He's like, "Come on,
that
Benton."
was done.
So that's 3 doctors.
That's 3 doctors.
Fantastic. Good choice.
So, who's
Okay.
going first on this one with final thoughts?
I will go last because it was my pick.
All right. Shall I?
Please do.
Please.
I enjoyed it. It's a good story. I don't know if it's my favorite Jon Pertwee story, but you picked a good one. We'll say that. Just you've been vindicated.
Phew.
So that should make you. Yeah.
You did it. Yay.
2 and 3 are a delight. Omega's a really effective villain with his performance and his shouting. And Nicholas Courtney, bless him, is the funniest goddamn thing about it. It does drag here and there, and that does show because my notes often had big gaps where I didn't really have much to note. It's just characters talking about what are we going to do next, rather than anything really eventful happening. But that's not really a knock against the story itself. But it is good. I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it again. So thank you for the pick, Rainiac. Kat, what did you think?
I really enjoyed it. I really love the Brigadier like you did. It's friggin' amazing how done he is. The snark between the second and the third Doctor was fantastic. I do wish that they had just sort of cut out the first Doctor because while it was nice to see him, and obviously the 10th anniversary, you wanted to be big and awesome, but also I kind of wish that they just let the poor guy rest. He looked so tired in this, and it's like, oh gosh, it was kind of easy to tell that he was not feeling time. But it was a good story. As far as I could tell, I can't really poke any big holes into it, which you can do for some other stories that have happened before. So I really liked it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you really liked it.
And then it turns out Rainiac hates it.
No, quite the reverse. I really like this one. I will make a small confession. This is the second time I've watched it this year because it was part of a Classic Who watch-along on Twitter.
All right. That's all right. This is the second time I watched it this year, too, because I got the Jon Pertwee set.
Yeah, it's one of the ones
the first time I've ever seen it.
Well, that's good. That's part of the reason why I started these classic reviews, because there was so many you hadn't seen.
I like talking about this shit too,
and I wanted a range of different perspectives.
Yeah, please, your thoughts.
Well, my thoughts are this. So there is a subset of Doctor Who fans who balk at anything quote unquote traditional, and this is very traditional in terms of Doctor Who stories. But that doesn't mean it's bad. Far from it. And what elevates it are the performances of some of its main stars. So we have to mention him again. Nicholas Courtney is a delight. He is the perfect straight man to both Jon Pertwee's Doctor and Patrick Troughton's Doctor. Omega is a great villain. Classic villain, chews the scenery. Stephen Thorne is a fantastic voice actor for him. Gives him this booming majesty in his voice and his presence and all his movements and mannerisms. That's great. Joe Grant's a great companion. Ollis and Dr. Tyler, they're okay. They're there. Sergeant Benton has some good interactions with the Brig and the Doctors. Now, I agree with Kat. William Hartnell didn't need to be there. I know it's the 3 Doctors. I know you kind of had to have the 3 Doctors, but he was clearly not well. He wasn't well when he left the show the first time in 1966, and he's much, much less well here. So, yeah, he should have just been allowed to rest, poor man.
Yeah.
But it is a historically significant serial. It's the return of the Time Lords. It's the return of the Doctor's ability to travel through time. We get introduced to a classic villain. There is very little to dislike about this one, honestly.
Yeah.
And if your only criticism is that, oh, it's too traditional, I'm sorry, that's not really a criticism.
I mean, look, I'm the guy who kind of hates traditional shit and prefers more esoteric gonzo stuff, but this is solid.
Yeah, but you don't hate things just for being traditional. You don't use traditional as like a substitute word for bad, as some people do.
Well,
Particularly
it
when they shortened
depends
it to
on the
trad. Like, oh, it's very
era.
trad. Like it's some sort of curse word.
I mean, I would say that about something like... Well, you could say it about something like Ascension to the Cybermen. Ascension to the Cybermen is trad, but it's also kind of pointless.
I think I'm just trying to make a defense that traditional or trad does not have to equal bad.
Fair.
Honestly,
Fair.
I think it all depends on exactly how it's used. So traditional ideas are good. It just all depends on exactly what you do with them. Like,
Yeah.
something I recently I've been watching this guy who reviews animation, and he looks into in depth into the animation itself. And one of the things he talked about was how Barbera, in order to make stuff for TV production, they took a lot of shortcuts. So you know how you have the scenery that keeps repeating itself in the background?
Yes.
That's one of the tricks that they used was, walk cycles. They have all this animation that they already have. So whenever they need to use it, they could just, pull it up and put it in. And there have been plenty of jokes where people have pointed out, oh, hey, that scenery looks familiar. And there it is again. And there it is again. And it's like, that's how you could take tradition and make it new at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so important to keep tradition, but also to make sure that you don't, essentially, that you don't keep it old all the time.
Yeah, my point is just that if your only criticism is, oh, it's too traditional, that it's by itself is not really a valid criticism for me.
I get it.
Because traditional is not bad in itself. Traditional is just tradition.
I mean, if you say that everything that's traditional is bad, you're saying things like, I don't know, in the modern era, the Impossible Planet is bad because that's quite traditional. Really,
that's true. It's what you do with it. I see.
And it definitely is. That's definitely not bad. That's one of the best modern day serials.
You really go to bat for that story.
And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with defending one of my old-time greats?
Nothing's wrong with
fine.
that.
That's
You have
fine.
fun with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I going to have fun next week? Well, Kat has the answer to that. So, traditional or gonzo?
Troll.
No. Here's my gimmick for this week.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Up on the screen, we're going to flash a special code word, just like Pee-wee's Playhouse. If you put a timestamp with your choice... no, I'm kidding. We're not doing that. Brainiac.
Yes.
Talons or Happiness Patrol?
There's a right choice and a wrong choice here, Rainiac.
Okay, firstly, I hate you. And secondly, we know what the right choice is.
Okay, so join us next week.
Time on Doctor Who Reviews, we're doing the Happiness Patrol.
Well, no, we're doing Talons.
No!
Yeah.
You said it was my choice!
I never said I would agree with your choice.
Son of a bitch!
Oh, God,
Look,
no!
Let's just get it out of the way.
Are we actually,
get it over
this
and done
is
with.
no joke, we are actually doing Talons.
Yes.
So you gave me a choice. You gave me a choice.
Oh, no.
I picked one of the choices. And then you did a review
I
of one.
intended to do Talons the whole time, but then you started talking about the Happiness Patrol. I'm like, oh, I could use that.
Oh, no.
So let's just confirm, we are definitely doing Talons of Wenchaya next week.
Yes.
Okay. Right, let me just grab something to cover my mouth for a second.
I'm screaming on the inside.
See, I'm perfectly fine with this because I haven't seen it. I just know what happens in it with the racism.
Yeah,
so
you do realise you have opened up the darkest timeline.
Honey, it's
Look
2020. We're already in the darkest timeline.
Everything that happens from now until December is the fault of this decision. Somewhere out there, there are 3 other people in a parallel universe sliding doors moments.
See, I do not take responsibility for this. We all know the true demon that started everything that happened in 2020, and that's cats. I'm not taking that responsibility. We are doing Talons. We're going to get it out of the way. We'll never have to talk about it ever again after this.
Well, that's a small comfort.
All right, if we agree that we never mention it again after next week, I will reluctantly agree that we can do Talons.
Because let's put it this way. At some point, we're going to start running out of stuff to do.
Yeah. Maybe in this case, that's a good thing.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Talons, from what I remember. Well, from its reception, say. Talon, remember Tomb of the Cybermen? Remember how it was racist and also kind of dumb and sus?
Yes.
Talons, now I haven't watched it in ages. I've only seen it one time. I don't really have many strong memories of it. Talons is, from what I understand, racist, but also well-made. So it could be good and racist. I don't know. Yeah. We'll find out. That's our one saving grace. I'm still going to pillory the shit out of the story for its problematic elements and its fan base, because, yeah, I'm petty like that. The fan base ruined it for me. For reasons to get into next week. Because, God help us, next time on Doctor Who Reviews, Tom Baker in the Talons of Wang Chiang.
Oh, honey, there's no God here.
You know what? Now I know how Nicholas Courtney felt in The Three Doctors, because I'm so dumb.
Well, Brainiac, even though I know you don't really want to thank half of the guests, I think you should thank half.
I will thank my guests, I guess.
I did
so
did nothing
thank you
wrong.
to Freezing Inferno.
For not picking Talons.
For not picking Talons of Wen Chiang. Thank you, I guess, to Kat for picking Talons of Wen Chiang and making me die a little on the inside. Thank you to the audience for watching our free... You know what? We only finished talking about Three Doctors 5 minutes ago. It feels like 2 hours has passed. It feels like I blacked out after Kat said Talons, and I've woken up, and 2 hours has passed.
The true 2020 experience.
His smile of optimism gone.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Kat, are you sure we can't watch The Twin Dilemma?
I'm sure. We're going to get this out of the way.
I'm particularly mad because I picked Happiness Patrol and got this instead. And I hate Happiness Patrol, but it was the better option of these. Oh.
I have kind of come to...
I like Happiness Patrol.
When you said you know the right choice, you were referring to Happiness Patrol, right?
Of course I was!
Just checking, because I don't know what the hell's going on anymore.
Honestly, I would have chosen Happiness Patrol too, so...
Anyway, if you want to yell at us for our terrible decision in what story to pick next time, it's at Reviews Doctor on Twitter.com. If you want to yell at Kat specifically, it's at Concave Usurper on Twitter.com.
And if you want to yell at the real person whose fault this is, it's Mike.
Yeah, what?
He said in our poll to just get it over with, and I took that to heart.
Did you just throw him under the bus?
Oh, I threw him under a double-decker, thank you.
Oh, that was that loud bang I heard outside. Right. Over 2 handles, at Freezing Inferno for Jerry, at Rainiac Damaniac, that's DA, Maniac for myself. I should really, one of these days, change that to something a bit easier to say and type. But thank you once again for putting up with us. And we'll see you next week for The Talons of Wen Chiang.
If you don't like racism, don't watch next week.
We have no choice because...
You two have to. No. You two still have to. Everybody else, however, has a choice.
I know what's going to happen, because having not seen this one myself, I'm going to watch it, and yeah, I'll find the racism problematic, but I'll probably actually enjoy the damn story.
I mean, I'll forgive you for that. I just have
to be fair, there are a lot of really great stories that do contain racism. And it's one of those things where you have to recognize that it's wrong, but you can also still like the thing that it's in.
Yeah.
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 I mean, like I said, Tomb of the Cybermen wasn't just racist. It was kind of bad.
So, with
Yeah.
that being said, join us next week to find out if I am cancelled forever. As we talk about the talents of Wen Chiang. Mike, I blame you for this entirely.
Well, we wanted a horror story for Halloween. Here we go.
Yeah, 2 weeks,
Hey!
2 or 3 weeks early. I suppose the good thing is we can't pick this for the Halloween one now.
The good thing is, yeah, we can't ever pick it again. Once we do it, it's done.
Actually, let's see. So I do next week, then it goes Frez, then Rainiac. So technically, Rainiac is going to be picking our Halloween story.
Oh. Oh, is it payback time? I believe it's payback time.
Hey, what did I do?
Oh, wait, hang on. Let me do that again. So I'm picking it this week, and then we're going to do it on Monday where Frez will pick his. And then we'll do that on the next Monday. We're ready. Oh, no, I'm picking the Halloween story. Yay!
Oh, God.
We're fucked. Anyway, let's just.
Hang on. I just love the candid realization of, oh, we're fucked.
You're literally like.
Did you not realize
Wildland
this 6 years ago when we invited him to be on the show?
You're all fucked.
Say goodnight, Rainiac.
Good night, Rainiac.
So, Talons next week. Until then, bye for now.
Bye for now. I hate everything.
You love it.